They have tried everything. Guns, bribe, propaganda. 15 good times they have tried to take him out, and yet he is still standing. Captain Ibrahim Traoré is the leader of the Burkina Faso people. Is it just survived? He's rewriting the rules of power in Africa. And that's exactly why the world wants him gone. The rise of Ibrahim Traoré. In 2022, a young military officer took control of a country plagued by terror, poverty, and foreign interference. His name is Ibrahim Traoré, just 34 years old, calm, precise, decent. He's a good guy. He didn't promise election. He didn't beg for aid. He made one promise: Burkina Faso will belong to his people again. But that promise made him dangerous to Paris, to Washington, D.C., to Emmanuel Macron and Donald Trump, even to some of his neighbors in Africa, because Traoré wasn't just leading a country, he was leading a revolution. The threat, from the moment he took power, the threat began. Insiders betrayed him, foreign alliance turned cold, and assassination attempts started piling up, one after another. By 2025, there had been 15 attempts to remove him. One of the most serious came on April 16, 2025. A coordinated plot, military insiders backed by foreign states, but all were failed. When it failed, the traitor didn't run into hiding. They crossed into Ivory Coast and were welcome, protected, funded, prepared to strike again. The lockdown of Burkina Faso. Trial law aids then survive required modern bodyguard. He need a system, a shade, so he built one. Behind closed doors, his team called it a long down doctrine. Loyalty became a new law. The presidential guard was gutted and rebuilt from scratch. Soldiers were vetted through everything: family, education, political beliefs. If you don't pass, you were out. No second chances. I like this guy, Ibrahim Traoré. His brain is working. Tick-tock, tick-tock. He brought back the office of the International Counterintelligence, not just to watch enemies abroad, but to monitor everyone. Minister, generals, even local police chiefs. And then he reached for something even more powerful: to his people. The people of Burkina Faso accept Ibrahim Traoré's ideas and demand. Defeat the civilians' army. He created a very wonderful civilians' army. Most of them are farmers, traders, from farmer to storekeepers. Traoré called on civilians to rise. He armed them, trained them, gave them purpose. They are known as the VDP, Volunteers for Defense of the Homeland. At first, they defended village from terrorists. Now, they are stationed in cities along roads near army bases, and they reportedly to the presidency. In a country once ruled from palace. At behind closed door, Traoré security now walks in sandals, side by side with the people. The watchers. He has created a very strong vigilantes that are watching the areas of Burkina Faso. So every new faces that come into the city will be identified immediately. This guy is genius. They came to the next layer, a national biometric system marketed as registration, but it does more than collect names. It watches, it tracks people, every flag pexed movement, every call, every meeting, criticize cause. This is a surveillance state. Supporters call it necessary because Traoré doesn't see Burkina Faso as a democracy. He see it a revolution. A revolution. A revolution is something that Africa needs to take the power in their hand. Africa needs to revolutionize and take the power to the next level. The propaganda war. Not just the Western wars, the Americans, the Europeans, and France want to bring this guy down. They tried 15 times and they could not reach him. The only thing they can do is to create a propaganda. But not all battles are fought with bullets. On foreign news channels, Traoré is painted as a strong man. They say he's stealing gold. They say he's cracking down his people on ethnic groups. They call him a dictator in military uniform. Just like what they did to Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. But inside Burkina Faso, his story looks different. He lives simple, drive himself, stay close to his people, no jet, no mansion, no shopping in Paris. His greatest weapon is belief. He believes in his people and he wants his people to believe in him and change him as well. The African deserve leaders who don't need to the Western world, who will not adhere to the Western world, who will not listen to the Western people. Africa needs leaders like Ibrahim Traoré, a person who has been ordained and destined to change the course of young Africans. And I believe that Africa should emulate this guy and take steps and protect their mother's land, because it's time for Africa to protect their mother's land. This is not just the first time. You know, many African leaders before, like Thomas Sankara, Patrick Lumumba, a lot of great leaders have been eliminated because they refuse to listen to the Western world. Now Ibrahim Traoré is getting too much. The whole world wants him eliminated. The Western world wants him eliminated. But this guy is standing strong and we are solidly behind him. This is not the first time Burkina Faso saw a leader like this. Thomas Sankara once stood in Traoré's place, a revolutionary leader, loved by his people, murdered by his own best friend, Blaise Compaoré. Traoré knows Sankara's story well, and he sworn never to repeat that mistake. The latest final coup. In late 2024, the most dangerous plot yet was uncovered. Not just a coup, a full-scale attack backed by terrorists. It was traced to a former president man living in exile. He coordinated the assault with fighters, militants, defectors, and regional allies. The goal is to destabilize Burkina Faso, kill and replace Ibrahim Traoré. They attack Basilogo, a town near the capital. Hundreds died. A lot of people died, but Traoré survived it. And the message was clear. This is no longer politics. This is a war by Ibrahim Traoré. The question everybody asks is, why do they want to take over Burkina Faso? It's because of the gold, the mineral resources. In Burkina Faso, a lot of problems. For the past 40 years, no road was built for Burkina Faso. Nothing was done by the French. So ask yourself, why does the world fear a man who is trying to protect his country? Why do foreign governments accuse him of corruption? With no proof. Nobody have seen anything. He does not have any money anywhere in the world. Why do elites call him dangerous? When he demands his independence and independence of his people. Maybe it's not just about what he's doing wrong. Maybe it's not about what he's doing right. Maybe they just want to eliminate him because of the resources of Burkina Faso. Because with Ibrahim Traoré standing, that means the resources will be protected and the people of Burkina Faso will have a better life. Traoré may not be perfect, but he is one of the few leaders standing between African future and his past. If he fails, the revolution may die with him. And the next one might not come for decades. Until then, he fights not just to stay alive, but to keep the flame of sovereignty burning. We Africans must unite to protect Ibrahim Traoré. We must unite to make sure that this guy is standing. That is why we need to share the story of Ibrahim Traoré in every platform, in every system, in every society, so that the message will reach Ibrahim Traoré and reach the African leaders, anyone that is trying to attempt again any coup. All the youths, all the men, all the women of African descent will rise and stand with Ibrahim Traoré. This is not just about Burkina Faso. It's about every African nation that dares to say, we will decide our own future. We are going to stand with every African country that decide to stand for their future. In this story, we will be creating the story of African leaders. And we'll be sharing it with you guys to make sure that awareness of Africans will reach the world. It is time to wake Africa up, and it's time to start sharing the story of Africa, because together we can. If this story moved you, share it. Let the world knows what is really happening in Burkina Faso. Subscribe to Noble Black News channel for more stories the master won't tell you. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Forces through private companies and partnerships. For example, American corporations are heavily involved in oil extraction in countries like Nigeria and Angola. Meanwhile, US tech companies rely on African cobalt to build batteries for electric vehicles and electronics. But the US doesn't just compete economically. Its military presence in Africa has grown in recent years, with bases and operations aimed at countering threats like terrorism. However, many argue that these efforts also protect American access to key resources. Europe, too, has a vested interest in Africa's wealth. Former colonial powers like France and the UK maintain significant influence in resource-rich countries. France, for instance, depends on uranium from Niger to fuel its nuclear power plants. Europe's push for renewable energy has only increased its reliance on African resources like lithium and cobalt. But here's the catch: while global superpowers profit from Africa's resources, many African nations struggle to see the benefits. Resource-rich countries often face corruption, environmental degradation.
Dear teachers, you who represent the world of education here today, those who impart knowledge, who must educate on the values specific to Burkina Faso, who must educate on patriotic values, be greeted once again. Take your profession seriously, for the future of our nation depends on you. If you educate these young children well, we will have a better Burkina Faso tomorrow. And if you fail, our homeland will have failed. Remember, the imperialists are waging what they call today the fourth generation war. The main objective of this war is to ensure that for generations and generations, our nations can never build themselves. They want to ensure that these children grow up in an atmosphere of terror and violence, unable to distinguish between right and wrong. And only you, by playing, can these psychologists help them distinguish between good and evil in order to be good citizens. Because for them, if children grow up in such an environment, we will have several generations that will never be able to make peace, who will kill each other, because the rule for them will be war. Look at some nations in Africa that have not known peace for decades. That is exactly what they did over there. Let us ensure that in Burkina Faso, we are not in this situation. The future of our nation rests in your hands, and I ask you to take this mission to heart and to transform our future generation, our society, so that we may have tomorrow citizens worthy of that name. And you promise me here that you will do it. Thank you very much. To you, dear students, congratulations for the work accomplished under difficult conditions, but you have managed to stand out. Through this day, you motivate your peers to be able to be in your place next year. It is a healthy competition that you are instilling in your peers, and we wish them good luck and a lot of courage as well. Therefore, be dignified, Burkinabe, for those who have experienced the effects of this barbarism. Make the effort to stay close to your comrades and to be united. Those who have not experienced these situations should be the ones advising others, leading others to have fun, and forget about these situations. Make sure to be united, to be integral Burkinabes, to be men of value, respect your parents and elders, and work as hard as you can. Respect your parents because you must also help them. We often talk about certain texts that call for banning child labor. That's good. But I can tell you that our society is built on values. And within those values, you must do a minimum of work for the parents. Me, the one you see in front of you, I have washed my mother's pots. I have pounded for her. I was shot for her. I sold this donut. My comrades mocked me because it was women's work. I did it. It didn't stop me from being first in my class. It didn't stop me from being who I am. Help your parents. Help them with their tasks. And especially during these holiday moments, learn to work. Learn to do something with your 10 fingers. It will help you. In your schools, the environment must be clean. Your classrooms and the surroundings around you. Make sure to always stay clean. Plant as many trees as you can. And your teachers will help you learn the basics of agricultural production, particularly in gardening. Awaken in you this Burkinabe spirit, awaken in you this love for the homeland. You can and you must encourage all your peers to be very good citizens out of solidarity. And I count on you to be the driving force that will lead your peers towards excellence.